Selobot music, I'm sorry, I went on a rant. Here's the last runner-up. W, I think. Selobot, I think it's really cool. There's a lot of cool things about it. Can't believe it's a runner-up. He's 13 years old. Jeez, man. Selobot, keep going. You could be a goat. That's unreal. I can't believe that. You're unreal.
What's good, guys? This is Selobot, and this is my beat breakdown for the beat that I made for the Kenny Beats challenge yesterday. So here was the sample that we got to work with. So let's start with the drums. First, I just got a pretty basic kick and a sort of rim shot snare. So here's that. Then for like hi-hats and stuff, I have several. First, there's just this sort of basic hi-hat loop that I chopped up a little bit. Then in the second half, I add this hi-hat loop to that. So together those sound like this. And then I have a recording of myself doing this. So the original sounds like this. But then I added a grain delay and an EQ just to make it a little more interesting. That is actually a recording of me doing this. So all together, all those drums sound like this. Then we have some more percussion. So I have this wooden stick sound, which isn't very quantized or anything. It's actually mostly just like random spots, but it helped add a little bit of texture. So here's what that sounds like. There's a whole lot of very like quiet percussion in here, just to sort of fill up the mix and make it more like interesting to your ears. Then I have a pretty simple 808. Here's what that sounds like. The original sample is sort of longer, like it sustains for longer, but I felt like to keep sort of the bouncy feel, I should add a fade out so that it is shorter. So here's all of the drums together and percussion and all that stuff. We're gonna get into the melodic elements. So there's this sort of chord stab going on. Here's that. So that stab is from like this loop that actually the count made, and it's this. So I just took that first chord and pitched it up and down to make that noise. And then in the second half, there's like a second layer which I add, which is still the same sample, but I just added more effects to give it some more like dimension. Then I have this synth one shot, which also is pretty much just there to fill up the mix and sort of add like an impact on every loop. So here's what that sounds like. It's a very soft noise. I also have it going upwards in the intro. And then for the sample, I chopped it up quite a bit actually. It doesn't really sound like well, it isn't the original chord progression, so here's what that sounds like. So after that, in the second half, I used the part of the sample where there's more like guitar and just more going on. So here's what that sounds like. And then sort of to top it all off, I have this sort of bell sample. Here's what that is. So it's a recording of me playing this, and then I had... That didn't go so well. Well, it's a recording of me playing those, and then it has some pitch shifting so that I could have like, I think I needed a B flat, so I had to play the A twice. So that's pretty much it for the main beat. And then in the intro, it's pretty short since there's a 1 minute limit. But I have the sample, it has a lot more reverb on it and stuff. So here's what that sounds like. Then right before the beat hits, there's just a basic saw wave playing a note. Then for the bass, I used my Behringer Model D. It's mostly square bass. There's a little bit of filtering going on, but it's not that complicated of a sound. Then we have the bells, or whatever you want to call them, again in the intro with an octave up too. Which it's turned down a lot, but it just sort of adds like another layer. So this is how that sounds. Then obviously there's that synth one shot I was talking about, and then the wooden stick sample, I reversed it, and that's just playing in the intro. So with all of those elements put together, here's how that sounds. Thank you. Thank you so much for watching. Peace.
This